You're listening to BQN. Assimilate the audio.
Hi, I'm Mitch.
And I'm Davey.
And we are
The Bargain Bin Gamers.
We've been having so much fun pre-recording. It's been so much fun.
Oh, just so much fun. And look, the audio's working. Can you see?
Oh
The
my
little
God.
audio. We're not going to have to do this twice this week. That's exciting.
Professional podcasting duo.
Yep. We are just all over it. And hey, guess what? This is the podcast, YouTube show, and occasional, rarely ever, Twitch stream where we put the gay in gaming.
While also looking after your hip pocket.
Oh, yeah, but your hip pocket's looked after.
Hopefully they're bulging. Oh,
It's just your hip pocket. It's an odd term, isn't it?
yeah, it is an odd term.
Isn't
No one
it?
carries cash anymore.
Exactly. All right. And okay, I was about to say, where else do you have pockets? You have pockets lots of places, so I'm not going to follow that thought stream at all.
God's pocket?
God's pocket.
Ma-
Yeah. Stay right by Jesus, if you wouldn't mind. But before we divulge into any other silliness or hijinks, I'd like to give a big shout out to our BQN Podcast Network patrons, especially to this show's associate producer,
Sam Johnson.
oh, yeah, Sam. Oh, yeah, Sam.
Poor Sam.
Poor
I
Sam.
feel so bad for you. We love you, Sam.
We do love you, Sam. When he heard the farmer wants a wife joke, he's like, yes.
Oh, really?
Right, yeah. Exactly. Well, we'd love to we'll have to get Sam back on the show. So
I think it's going to have to happen.
it's going to have to happen.
And then we can make more memes.
He's got a lot of games that he would really, really like us to play. So, and you have never met him. So
No, I'm easily swayed though as well. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't half of Melbourne know it. So anyway, thank you so much, Sam. We do appreciate your support of the show, and to all of our network patrons who make a wonderful financial contribution to the network. Remember, if you would like to help keep this and other BQN podcasts coming to you every single week, you can sign up to be a patron over at patreon.com/BQN. BQN. That's right. Someone asked me today what BQN means, and I'm like, I've been making podcasts on this network for 3 years, and I've got no fudging idea.
Yeah, neither do I.
It's like Borg Queen Network because it's rooted in Star Trek. Of course. That's kind of like
All roads lead back to Trek with you.
Yeah. Someone said Big Queer Network the other day, and I'm like, well, Mitch and I are on it, so that's about as big and as queer as you can get.
Yeah, and boy, are we networked.
We are. Don't. I don't know what even that means.
Was that stupid?
Yeah, we are ridiculous. But anyway, there's all kinds of amazing stuff for network patrons. For this show, we do Bargain Bin Gamer Uncut. Ooh.
Big and uncut and thick and
Yeah.
Aussie.
No euphemisms there, just Bargain Bin Gamer Uncut, which is the full unedited version of this show. We do have to chop it up a little bit and leave little bits on the cutting room floor.
Mostly because I don't know what we're doing half the time.
Yeah, and also just to to keep it within a reasonable time. But there's lots of extra little tidbits you can get over on the Patreon. And we've also got gameplay videos over there, which is going to be a gameplay video for this episode because we're doing something really exciting today.
Because it's your episode today. I've had my time in the sun. We're back on our schedule with Davey stuff.
Well, fucking you coming up with any ideas during the week, didn't I?
I've been busy. I've been moving house.
I love it. Look at us sitting here drinking our coffee for those watching on YouTube.
Well, it is 11 a.m. on a Saturday. So, and some of us had a big night.
Oh,
so.
Yeah, you did have a big night. Let's tell the listeners and the viewers about that. What happened?
Yes. So listeners and viewers, anyone who's viewing, you can tell I had a long night because I had a big one. I went out to the Laird, which is a gay bar in Melbourne.
Gay bar?
Specifically a bear bar.
Ooh.
And if anyone knows me, you know I love a bear. So
and a bear loves him. Old Goldilocks here was just trying to find the oatmeal that was just right.
I wasn't blowing any porridge. I was blowing something else. But Last night, every Friday night at the Laird, a quick shout out, by the way, to the Laird.
Love the Laird.
Unsponsored, but if you want to support.
Institution of the Melbourne gay scene.
Honestly.
Love it. Yep.
They do karaoke on a Friday night.
What could that entail?
Bears doing karaoke.
Oh,
so,
fabulous.
It's a lot of fun. I took a couple of my friends. We had many, many shots of 1-800 tequila, and I did sing Avril Lavigne, I'm With You, in a dulcet tone.
We may have to put that in the Patreon version for people if you want to see that.
Just follow me on Instagram.
I know. That was the first thing I saw. I woke up this morning and was checking Instagram stories, and I'm like, oh, God, I haven't had coffee yet. This is too much.
Me squealing out, I'm with you. So my voice is a little husky today because I was pelting it out. And yeah, it's just a good time. Bunch of drunk gay bears all singing really, really bad Celine Dion covers.
Amazing. And you've had other fun stuff going on. You've moved house.
Yeah. We got promoted at work, been hustling. What about you, Davey? Give us a little update.
I have been doing lots of bits and pieces, actually. I've been doing a lot of gaming. I'm still loving my switch to Mario Kart World is getting a lot of my attention. I've also been playing a bargain game on there called Fast Fusion. So Fast Fusion, it's kind of like, remember like Wipeout on the PlayStation?
Oh, yeah.
It's a bit like that, you know, what they call it, like a light speed racer. Interestingly, I mean, you know, it's on topic for the bargain bin gamer. It's like one of the only other like Switch to exclusive games at launch, like apart from Mario Kart World. I can't even remember if there are others. This is like
they're the two,
and it only costs like $20. It's a bit slim in terms of content. Like, it's like, hey, here's some races. You can do some local multiplayer.
Unlock some carts.
Unlock some cars and some tracks and all that kind of stuff. There's no online mode, but it looks pretty incredible.
That's good.
And it's fun to play.
Well, there's your quick review of Fast.
That's a quick review of Fast Fusion. That's what we're doing.
What are we doing today?
Oh, no, let's get back on topic. Today, well, we're exploring a bit of a love of mine from gaming. It's something I'll say it's actually a love-hate relationship. Now, there's nothing really queer about this apart from the fact that if you listen to the way some of the characters talk. He's
kind of gay. I think he's a bit of a gay boy.
Well, we're talking about Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
The reason why we're talking about Sonic the Hedgehog is, you know, we explored Pokemon last week, which is one of your big loves. Now, this isn't a ROM hack or anything like that. We're moving back into our series of Gen Z plays, and what we're going to do is get Gen Z over here to play some original Sonic.
Woo!
Give us his impressions.
I'm ready for my 8-bit music.
Yeah. So come with me on a journey. Come with me.
I literally was
see in a world of pure imagination.
I'm just excited for Sonic. Like, I have never really played a Sonic game before. My first Sonic game was Sonic Unleashed.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking garbage game, by the way. Turned into a werewolf. Come on.
People say that the non-werewolf sections of that are pretty good.
It was fun. And then the werewolf, I had to like climb around stuff. And I was like, what is this, Prince of Persia?
So is that your only...
Unless you count like the fucking Sonic Mario Olympics, which I played as well on the Wii. And I've also obviously played Smash Bros.
So you've never played any 2D Sonics?
No, never.
Okay.
I'm fresh. I'm virgin.
Yeah, well... of some things. So
I don't have trypophobia because I got a tiny little hole. Have you seen that TikTok? Sorry, I'll show you off the pod.
What is going on today? Holy shit. What is in this coffee?
Go on.
Anyway, I did prep for this, right? And you won't look, you're ruining the illusion. Anyway. So why do I love Sonic so much?
Have you got a big lesbian crush on him?
A bookish lesbian crush at that. So my first gaming console ever was the SEGA Master System. Do you know what the SEGA Master System is?
If you showed me a photo of it, I wouldn't be able to.
Probably not. No. Yeah. You've heard of the Mega Drive.
I have heard of the Mega Drive. Yeah.
SEGA Master System was before the Mega Drive. Ooh. So it was Sega's 8-bit console in line with the original Nintendo Entertainment System.
Right, because they were kind of rivals at the time, Sega and Nintendo.
Mega Drive was the first time that Sega was really kind of in the race. They really going after that North American market. They always sold much better in Japan, and Nintendo had a chokehold on the US market. So what Sega... Now, I really wanted Nintendo as a kid, right? And do you know why? Because I loved The Simpsons, and I had this Simpsons magazine which had an ad in it for the Bart versus the Space Mutants game, which was on Nintendo Entertainment System,
God.
which by all accounts is a garbage game. And
Simpsons
so
didn't
I
run.
was like, oh my God, I can play The Simpsons. And so I wanted a game console. And so
Right.
I begged and begged and begged. And I got a SEGA for Christmas that year because it's cheaper.
Thanks, Kez.
Thanks for showing what I'm worth, Mum and Dad.
Shout out to you, Kez.
Yeah. Now, despite the initial disappointment of that,
Ungrateful little kid.
I know.
Boo, I wanted this Nintendo.
No, really that, and the days that it took to figure out how to actually get the freaking thing to work.
Oh, really?
Because you don't know this pain, right?
Oh, here we go.
Do you know what you used to have to do with these things?
Read an instruction manual?
Well, there was no HDMI cables or anything like that.
Oh, it had the little red, white, and...
No, before that.
Oh, what?
You actually have to plug it into the antenna port
Oh.
and tune it in. You had to... We spent days... We had this little TV in like the rumpus/family room.
Rumpus, what an Australian
No,
term.
it was the good room. And we had this little TV, right? And they had these little buttons with these little, like, ridged, which you use to tune for, like, all the different bands to tune in your TV channels. And we couldn't find how to
So
get...
wait, hang on. Every time you turned it on, did you have to reach?
No.
Oh,
Once you had it tuned into a channel, you were tuned in.
it's like,
right?
what a dark
But then
time.
I had this like indent in my finger. I just spent days trying to tune it. And then one day, all of a sudden, I'm like, oh my God, it works.
Oh my God, that sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah. So anyway,
How far we've come.
I eventually got it to work. And, you know, that was it. Like, I can still remember the day that we were tuning. And then all of a sudden, like, it came up and we went right past it. I'm like, go back. And that started my love of gaming.
Of course. That sounds like fun.
Yeah,
Why wouldn't
it was great. So I started consuming everything gaming, gaming magazines, specifically an Australian publication at the time called Megazone. Now, I was reminded of Megazone recently because shout out to Dan in Games on our Instagram, who was posting some stuff from that and hyper magazines to institutions of video game print media in the 90s. Megazone was hyping up the arrival of Sega's Mario Killer at the time, which was Sonic the Hedgehog.
I've heard that term before. The
Yes.
Mario Killer.
That was it, because, you know, Mario was just the shit, right? Like, I remember, like, going to cousins' houses, friends' houses. If they had Nintendo, you were playing Mario. Like, especially, like, this was around about the time, I think, of Super Mario Bros. 3. It was... They made a movie to launch this game, right? Like, it was huge.
Was that live action?
The Wiz or something like that.
The Wiz.
I think it was called The Wiz.
That's the Wizard of Oz, babe.
No, it was called The Wiz. The Wizard of Oz is a much longer title.
The Wiz is like isn't that a rendition of the Wizard of Oz?
No.
It's like black?
I don't know. There was a movie, had Fred Savage in it, I think. The guy from the Wonder Years. Anyway, I don't know. That's way off topic. Anyway, so they were really excited about the arrival of Sonic the Hedgehog on Australian shores. All of the media for it was about the Mega Drive version.
Right.
This was 34 years ago, so it came out June 23, 1991. However, there was nothing available on the Master System until later that year. So what I found out, interestingly enough, so what happened is, so it was the formation of Sonic Team. So Sonic Team have been handling the Sonic games for years, except the original Master System and Game Gear versions. Do you know what the Game Gear is?
No.
It was Sega's handheld in the 90s.
Oh my God, everyone had a handheld.
Yeah. But it was color. You could watch TV on it.
Do you have to tune it?
Yeah, a little extra thing that came. But anyway, so they handed over the reins to a new studio called Ancient, founded by a legendary composer, Yuzo Koshiro, who was well known for his work on Streets of Rage.
Obviously.
So basically, so Koshiro and a group took over development of an 8-bit version of Sonic the Hedgehog, which is what I wound up playing.
Oh, so it was like Tweet.
It was, it was, so Sonic is all about what?
Speed. Gotta go fast.
Speed, yeah, exactly, right? So they actually had to kind of slow it down for the Master System version. But that was what I played.
Oh, it sounds a bit counterintuitive, though.
It was actually, like, I have really, really fond memories of it. They also made a Sonic 2 also came out on the Master System, but again, handled by a completely different team. And there was always elements taken from whatever Sonic team were doing. So, for example, in the sequel, they introduced the character of Tails.
Love Tails.
Now,
Little gay boy.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, little twink. Oh my God, Sonic.
Yeah, they're different.
Yeah. So, and on the Mega Drive version, Tails went along with you, and you could do 2 players with Tails and all that kind of stuff. And again, I was really, really excited about that. But the version that came to the Master System, Tails was just someone who'd been kidnapped who you were trying to rescue.
Oh no, the princess.
and anyway, they made that version notoriously difficult.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's really interesting to kind of see, because it's kind of like how today there's always, when a new generation of consoles come out, they always kind of make the compromises where they're kind of dual developing.
Yeah.
This was kind of the same, but they were making just a completely different game.
They're like, no, it's different.
for the older version.
Was that a system necessity? Like, was that because of the system? Like, they needed to change it?
The power of the systems was so dramatically different, right? And there was no way in hell that the Master System or the Game Gear, which were essentially the same thing, would be able to handle what they were doing on the Mega Drive.
So they dumbed it down.
Yeah. So that's what we're going to get you to play today. So we're going to get you to play the original Master System version. Now, the only way I could find to play it was through the Sonic Origins collection, which I've downloaded onto the Switch. Now, they've actually got... Oddly enough, they're emulating the Game Gear versions of these games. So you're going to have a very interesting experience because the Game Gear had a much smaller resolution.
Oh, no.
And I've already had a little bit of a play of it, right?
Me and graphics.
And the funny thing, so the original version on Game Gear and Master System had the frame rate of a fucking... dog's asshole. If a dog's asshole had a frame rate, it would be very slow.
Am I going to get car sick? Frame rate?
And you would think in the Sonic Origins collection that they would fix that.
Wow.
No, it's here, warts and all.
I get OG. Woo.
Yeah,
warts and all.
It is here absolutely warts and all. So before we dive into it, so Dr. Eggman invades South Island to find 6 Chaos Emeralds resting there and to use them to conquer the world. He traps the local animals and sends his badniks to hunt down the emeralds. Upon learning of Eggman's plans, Sonic the Hedgehog rushes to stop him. Eventually, Sonic confronts Eggman in the Scrap Brain, but the Doctor escapes to his skybase. Traversing the area, he has a final showdown with the Doctor and defeats him. Eggman tries to flee through a teleporter, but Sonic follows him and lands a final blow. Finishing the game with all 6 Chaos Emeralds collected also leads to a scene of the gems undoing Eggman's pollution of South Island.
Wow. That's a lot.
There's a
lot.
What's
going on?
Yeah, you would not know that from actually playing the game.
Love that. Great storytelling.
Yeah. So,
however, an environmental message. Love that.
Yeah.
Love that.
There was actually, I
Like
never even thought of it like that.
Yeah. At the end, you've worked hard. You've collected all the Chaos Emeralds. We're going to use it to reverse the pollution.
Yeah.
Save the planet.
So, because we haven't done one of these for a while, we got Mitch to do this a while ago with Mario Kart and Mario Party from the N64. So this is another Gen Z plays. So we're going to start with original Sonic for Game Gear / Master System. We're going to go and play that for a little bit, and then we're going to come back and talk about it. Patreon subscribers, you can watch the full gameplay footage over on patreon.com/BQN. So until then, we'll be right back. So here are a few highlights from Mitch's play session of the original Sonic the Hedgehog on the Sega Master System / Game Gear. For the full gameplay video, head to patreon.com/BQN.
Green Hill.
A and B a year.
Spins. That's what I kind of miss about games, like when they were a little bit more rough and they had like, oh, what's going on? You're invincible.
So you just got a speed shoot, so you can now go in front. You can't survive those. Jump!
No!
Okay. You gotta be careful.
Oh my god. Oh my god, all my rings.
Yeah.
Oh.
Shit weren't easy back in the day, Zal.
No, they didn't give it to you.
Oh my god, stop!
Look at those little pixels.
I know.
It's quite charming. Oh, what are you?
The Chaos Emerald. There's one of those hidden in every level.
Oh god, I love how you remembered where that was.
You remember the amount of times I played this.
Oh yeah. So what is the difference between falling on top of something and jumping?
Jumping kills them, falling doesn't.
but I'm doing the same thing.
You can only really kill him when he's in his little spin mode.
Right. Have I still got the emerald?
Yeah. You already. Oh, you can get your rings. It's Dr. Robotnik.
I have no life.
That's all right. You can just don't, as long as you don't hit his little flame at the back.
So I can just jump into him?
Yeah. Do me again.
Not happy, Jan. Game over.
Yeah, you ran out of lives.
Girl. Do I have to do the whole thing again? Fuck, these games suck.
So let's do a comparison. Let's go to the original Sonic Hedgehog anniversary. So they've got an anniversary mode, which is like full widescreen. Let's play it in classic mode, the way God intended. Yes.
Oh, wow, what an ugly looking game.
All right.
Take it from me. Even the end song is fucking condescending.
And we're back.
We sure are.
Wow. So we've probably just spent maybe like a good 40 minutes or so
40 minutes, yeah.
playing some OG Sonic the Hedgehog. Now, I just put Mitch through his paces on the original Game Gear version, which was
through is the word.
which was one of the first games I ever played. And then we jumped over to the original Mega Drive version as well for comparison. So, all right. So coming out of that, initial impressions.
What a rough experience that was. That was very humbling as a gamer. It was a bit of a sharp reminder that games have gotten much easier as the age has gone on, because that did not let me get away with acting stupid. I had to really be quite precise with that game, which I'm not very. So,
because what was the one thing that happened that really kind of drove home just how hard games used to be?
it doesn't even have like a save feature. If you die and it's over, you start at the start of the game. No
Exactly.
start of the level, no start of level 3.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
you get to the start of the game. They even played a little startup sound again.
Yeah.
SEGA.
On both versions, we got Mitch as far as the second level, and on the Game Gear / Master System version, when you died, like you ran out of lives in the second one, and you're like, why did you go back in the fucking beginning?
I was not happy, man. Not happy. Which is, like I said, a bit of a reminder that games used to demand a lot more skill. Whereas nowadays, this is like, you can auto-save there, you can refresh your game there.
Yeah, and it's interesting. You also went into the Game Gear version expecting it to be super fast Sonic.
Yeah, it was not. It freaking ran like treacle.
Well, that's what I was saying before. As we could tell, they certainly took elements, music and gameplay elements all taken, but the 8-bit hardware just could not handle the sort of speed that Sonic was meant to have.
No.
So it was, It
also didn't have like the depth as well. I feel like the second one had a bit more like the graphics had like depth and like texture to it, whereas this was very flat.
But you approached the gameplay like you were going to be playing super fast Sonic, which is not.
It was.
I kept screaming, I'm like, slow down.
And I'm just like, pew, pew, pew. Oh, no, I'm hitting myself. Stupid me, I had to start again. But yeah, no, that's why I think I really appreciated the second one a bit more than the first one, because I thought I was supposed to be going fast.
Well, let's go through the first one, right? So let's go graphics, right? So it's
they were a bit rough.
Yeah, I mean, colorful enough for their time.
Yes.
I mean, very pixely. There was no option.
They were charming, though. The pixel was charming.
Yeah. Look, I would have preferred if the Sonic Origins collection had a CRT filter. I don't. Maybe there was, and I just didn't look in the options to see if it was actually there. But yeah, it was pretty bare bones, right?
Yes.
Like your little platforming bits and some patterns in the background.
Very patterns in the
meant to look like mountains.
Some vague mountains.
I know.
In the background. It was very colorful. I noticed that it was a lot more vibrant than I think the second one was. Like the second one was very colorful, but it was almost like a bit sicklier. I don't know how to explain that. But this one was a bit more like contrasty colors, which was really nice. It kind of was a bit difficult to decipher what was background imagery and what was foreground imagery. kept bumping into things being like, oh, that's not in the background. Silly me. I should be able to tell that these pixels are supposed to be in the back. So.
Yeah, and Sonic kind of like in that original version kind of looks like a bit of a big pixel blob.
He does,
like
especially when he's moving. Like,
there's no real like definition to him, right? Like there's just here's a big white pixel for his eye. But again, I think if you could see it on like a CRT filter, it might make a little bit more sense because that does kind of smooth those pixels out a bit. And I mean, I also showed you now again because this is the Game Gear version. Which is essentially, it's the same game as the Master System version, but it had a much smaller resolution, right?
Yes.
I showed you a photo of the Game Gear with Sonic running on it whilst we were playing. And what was your response to the system?
Ew, an ugly piece of hardware.
I know. It was hard. And I had one. I was telling Mitch how I used to have a Game Gear and it used to take like 6 AA or AAA batteries. And it didn't even last as long as, Switch 2 lasts about 2.5 hours on full charge at the moment.
God.
And at least you can recharge that fucker.
Yeah, what a little greedy little battery whore that thing must have been. But it probably would have been a bit better on that small screen. Whereas this, we've got it blown up. It's HD, so all the pixels are there in all of their completely perfect square glory. You know what I mean?
Yes. And one thing you were saying you did like, though, was the music.
The music was great across both of them, but obviously the first one was like the one that I was introduced to just then. And yeah, loved it. I was bopping along.
Now, Mitch is saying across both of them, right? Because he played Sonic 1 Game Gear and Sonic 1 Mega Drive.
Correct.
Right? So the music is it's the same tune, but obviously it's got a lot more depth to it on the 16-bit version as well.
It was really good. They were very charming. I've heard them before. Like they've obviously been like the backbone for like a lot of other games that have moved ahead. Yeah. So like a lot of the tunes, I was kind of like, oh, I've heard this little jingle before. I also had to hear the end credit.
You mean the dying sound?
The game over.
Yes, we heard that a lot. And the realization that you had limited lives and no continues.
That was so wrong. I can't believe that.
Yeah. So it was funny. There were moments like you had to find the hidden Chaos Emerald in each level.
Oh yeah, the flickering Chaos Emerald.
But I knew you were surprised, right? You were like, "Oh, I can't believe you remember where that is."
Yeah.
But that was what happened when you played these games back in the day. Like you had barely any other games, and so you played these over and over again. So if I was sitting around on a Saturday playing Sonic 1 on Master System, and I died on the 3rd or 4th level, or even the 5th. I just went back and started again. Yeah, and you got better each
muscle
time.
Memory.
That's just how if anything, I think it made us better gamers.
I do. I think games are missing that kind of like edge to them again. Like I don't think games demand as much, but I think that's just like the attention economy that we're currently all in, where like everything's pulling your attention a million different ways. So I don't think games are. I don't think they have as much balls anymore to do something like that.
I mean,
the player will just put it down.
There's a resurgence in this kind of difficult, like, we played Kitsune Tales recently, really hard. And there's other platformers out there like Hollow Knight and all that kind of stuff that thrive on being this really difficult game.
Yeah.
But even Kitsune Tales, like they now always include an accessible mode.
Exactly.
You're like, here's one where you can just sail through it and not die.
Yay for me.
Even the Mario platformer games, which are still really, really hard, like the modern, like, Super Mario Bros. Wonder and all that kind of stuff, they all include a bit of a get out of jail free card.
Yeah.
This, like that Sonic on the Game Gear did not have that, right? So you had to try and build up your bank of lives and you had to try and build up your continues. Now, your bank of lives, so you were saying like, oh, what are the little TV screens that you broke, right?
TVs.
Yeah, so they give you bonus rings and other powers, invincibility,
thank God for that.
Speed shoes, but there was also a bonus life one, which were often hidden. Also, if you collect 100 rings, you would also get a bonus life. And if you could get to the end of the level, so you get through that little signpost. I can't remember how many rings you needed to have, but if you had a certain amount of rings at the end of the level, you could go to a bonus stage where you could find one of those boxes that contained a continue. So if you died and ran out of all your lives, you could continue, right?
I use one of those.
So that's where the skill comes into it, right? Yeah. You build that up over time because you're like, all right, if I'm going to get to the end of this game, I've got to try and collect all the rings, find where all the bonus lives are, get to the bonus levels, get to the continues. Because, even young me playing these, and I played it over and over again, I could not get all the way to the end without going and getting all those power-ups and continues. So
it demands that skill from you.
Yeah, which is, I think, one of the challenges with getting you to play it and give an opinion based on a short period of time. Because it's designed for you to play it over and over and get better over time.
It was still fun. It was still a really good game, and the proper version, the second one, that as I keep calling it,
the Mega Drive
version, much better.
Yeah,
it just ran better. It was more like what I thought Sonic was, which was fast.
Yeah.
I could actually kill enemies, and it wasn't just me slowly wading through water, getting attacked by things.
And
I was
and the frame rate was so much better.
Oh, the original one was dragging.
I'd forgotten how bad it actually was.
I like that they kept it in the Switch. They were like, "Go on, we'll keep it."
Yeah, I know. Let's not optimize it for the collection that we're going to release on modern hardware.
$70, please.
Well, it's exactly how it used to be, and it's so bad. I forgot. You know what? I just put up with it, right?
Yeah.
Because I had no concept, right? I was probably maybe grade 3, maybe grade 4 at most when these games came out. And I just thought that was how it was meant. I didn't know what a frame rate was. I didn't realize that the hardware was fucking so hard.
Yeah.
Just because a bit of a bridge fell away.
Literally, yeah. It was if there was any more than 2 moving things on screen, it was just
yeah. I saw someone reviewing the original Game Gear 1 on YouTube recently, and they just said, when you're not wrestling with the frame rate, you're just wrestling with the overwhelming difficulty of the game.
Yeah, and he was so slippy. He was such a slippy little bugger. I was not expecting him to slip and slide so much. So it didn't help that I would be jumping, and I thought you were supposed to be going fast, and then I was getting punished for it in the original. And I was like, "Why do you hate me?
Yeah.
Why do you just want to be Mario? Stop it!"
Do you think though, obviously that original Master System one is. That's a style, 8-bit style's probably not really, has not stood the test of time.
No. It's charming, but it hasn't.
16-bit style.
Oh, that was cute.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah. At first you were like, oh, it's a bit ugly or stuff. But then I kind of pointed out, but so many games get made in this style now.
Oh, yeah. It's obviously a really beloved style, but I found it to be a bit more palatable on the eyes.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned before, it had a bit more depth and things like that.
So much more colorful.
Even though it was kind of chartreusey colors.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's even if anyone understands what I mean, but all the colors were slightly greener or bluer than I think they should have been. They kind of looked a little ugly, but I did like it.
I think that was the Mega Drive's strength, even over the Super Nintendo, is it had a much broader color palette.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. Don't at me, but
at him. You tell him, you dumb bitch. It actually had this many colors.
Someone will, and it's fine. I am
my burner account.
I am a dumb bitch.
But no, it was definitely a more enjoyable experience. I felt less punished for having fun.
Yes.
I don't know if that makes sense, but I was whizzing through. I was bouncing and flying around.
Well, yeah, and you could still wind up being punished for that as well, right?
I did.
But you also had more variety in the level.
Yeah.
So in the Game Gear / Master System version, you're literally just going from point A to point B. Yeah, there's a couple of, in that second act, there was a bit of verticality to it, but it was still very linear.
Well, they also, in the second one, they had the loop-de-loop, which I was that's a classic Sonic thing. Even I know that.
Yeah.
But I was where is it in the original?
Never appeared in that one.
Nope.
There was some in the second one on the Master System.
Yeah.
But it looked terrible when you would go through them.
Well, I wasn't very good at them either. I wasn't very fast because it could be why can't I do them?
Well, you'll find when we play the second one in a moment that has been, that was addressed.
Oh.
Yes.
She's been addressed.
Yeah. So Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is what we're going to move on to next. Now, we're going to go straight into the Mega Drive version of Sonic the Hedgehog 2 because, again, by the time I eventually got a Mega Drive, it was all I wanted it for was for Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Okay.
Right?
Was it a bit of a console move or was it?
For me, it was. I mean, the Mega Drive was out by the time I got a Master System. I just got the Master System from my parents because it was cheaper. That's all it comes down to.
As you cheaper.
So anyway, let's dive into Sonic the Hedgehog 2 for the Mega Drive a little bit. Now, The sequel is often considered to be significantly harder.
Oh, great.
Actually, no, sorry. The Master System version is considered to be significantly harder than the 16-bit Mega Drive version. The Sonic 2 on the Master System was horrendous.
Torture.
It was horrendous. I was like, I was grappling with the fact at that age that a sequel to something I loved could be so bad.
That hurt.
I was just like, wait, why isn't this better?
Yeah.
It's number 2. Shouldn't number 2 be better?
Wake up to the real world, buddy. Sequels.
Yeah. And I was waiting. I think I mentioned earlier, right? I was waiting for Tails to be in it. He wasn't.
Ugh.
He just gets kidnapped in a little opening cutscene
Like the
and
little
off he
princess
goes.
he is.
I bought a gaming magazine, right? Which came with like a VHS. I think I've told this story before too. But there was a VHS that came with it, which had like video gameplay footage of upcoming games.
Uh-huh.
And it included like gameplay footage of Sonic 2 on the Mega Drive. And I think I spent like 2 years just watching this footage, hoping I would eventually get it.
What a loser.
Yeah. So look, a bit of information about it. So Sonic 2 was developed by the SEGA Technical Institute in California. So it actually became a collaboration between SEGA in the US and SEGA in Japan.
Wow, collaboration, bring people together.
Introduced Miles Tails Prower, who would follow Sonic through levels, and you could also do cooperative gameplay with a second controller. I'm going to test if that still exists in this version of the game.
Yeah.
And you could also do split screen, which ran like a dog breakfast, unfortunately. And included the spin dash move, which you're going to find out changes things significantly.
Yeah, I was finding myself a bit toothless while playing those games. I felt like I couldn't really do too much to these enemies, so I'm excited to actually be able to fuck them up.
Yeah. Similar story, set on West Side Island this time. Sonic and Tails race to stop Dr. Robotnik from collecting the Chaos Emeralds to power his space station, the Death Egg. A clear nod to Star Wars' Death Star, apparently.
Obviously.
Fun fact, Sonic 2 was originally planned as a time travel adventure, but the idea was scrapped and later used in Sonic CD for the Mega CD, which was a CD-ROM attachment to the Mega Drive that came out late in its life.
Some of those words?
Excellent. For those listening to the audio, he did it, went over his head.
It went over my head.
Yeah. Due to memory and time constraints, several levels were cut, including the mysterious Hidden Palace Zone, which fans speculated for years until it was restored in later releases.
Wow.
The game launched on a Tuesday, dubbed Sonic Tuesday. A clever marketing move that helped it become one of the best-selling Sega Mega Drive / Genesis games of all time. You probably don't know this, but Mega Drive was called Genesis in North America.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sega Genesis?
Yeah.
Oh, I have heard that before.
Yeah. It's Mega Drive. It's the same thing. Despite development challenges, including cultural clashes between the North American and Japanese team, Sonic 2 became a defining moment for the franchise, setting the stage for future titles and solidifying Sonic's place in gaming history.
Wow.
So what are you expecting from Sonic 2?
I'm expecting faster.
Yeah.
I'm expecting more ka-chow, like hitting stuff. And I'm expecting myself to be really bad at it because it's probably harder.
Fabulous. Well, on that note, I think we need to go and give it a little play.
I'm excited to see like the smash cut from my face now to my face after when I've inevitably thrown a hissy fit because I failed again.
Let's do it. All right, Defying Gravity style. We'll be right back. Well, do you want to try it again?
What was that? Just off the cuff, like screaming. All right, ready? 3, 2, 1.
We'll be right back. Once again, here's a taste of Mitch's Sonic the Hedgehog 2 on the Mega Drive playthrough. For the full gameplay video, head to patreon.com/BQN.
Yes. Oh.
Okay.
Oh my god. Whoa.
Animations.
This is so cute, like a co-op game.
Yeah, but like unintentionally a co-op game.
Yeah. Not a very well.
Boss battle.
Oh my god, what is going on?
Welcome to 16-bit 3D.
It's giving that's Mei M.
Well, hello and welcome back. We're back.
We're back.
We're back and
we're still doing Wicked again as
then-
well.
Because nothing says Sonic the Hedgehog like defying gravity.
Because after this game, I'm changed for worse. You're welcome. Actually, super excited for Wicked 2, by the way, sidebar.
Yeah, sidebar. And the fact that Wicked 1 is now on Netflix.
Oh my god, it is?
Did you not see my message on Discord last night? The one you replied to with the stupid video of you going, lead.
I was very drunk.
Okay,
on
cool.
tequila.
Wait, yes. Wicked is on Netflix.
I want to go home.
I was cooking dinner last night. Good, yeah.
Hi, everyone. We're back, by the way.
We're back. We've just been playing the Mega Drive / Genesis version of Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Dose.
I think you had more fun with that.
I did. It was much more fun.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot more. It helped about 16,000 times more that there was Tails there, because I love Tails. I think he's really
Yeah, because we were doing a specific thing that I used to do as a kid with my friends, and that is if you had a second controller plugged in, someone could control Tails.
Yes.
Whilst he was on the screen.
Yeah.
It was like accidental co-op.
It was weirdly, but it was good, but it meant you were stuck with my bad Sonic playing skills, which meant that you were restricted to whatever you could see on my screen, basically.
Yeah, but it also made it easier because when I was on screen, I could collect rings. Like if you got hit by an enemy, I could help pick up the extra rings and all that kind of stuff. What were some of the things that, apart from Tails being there, that made that more fun?
It was just had like a better layout. Like the game itself felt a bit more like fluid and like it didn't punish you for like having fun. It had a lot more like verticality.
Yeah.
Like the levels weren't just like a flat surface with a couple loops. It was like up and down and up and down.
But you could also, you didn't always just go from left to right.
No, you were going like backwards.
The first Mega Drive game had like different levels and verticality, but this had like, sometimes you're going right, sometimes you're going left.
Yeah, different weaving paths and things like that. That was quite fun.
Yeah. And we even made it to the third level,
which is
one.
a first for me because I only got to the second level than the other ones.
I mean, it was more fun that we were playing that one. Again, accident. You were still mainly in control, right?
Yeah.
Because it always focused on Sonic, but I could jump in and help out. I could even like get Tails to fly and carry you.
Yeah, he like caught me and he called me fat because it was.
He starts panting.
There was like a bit of a spike in difficulty at one point where it's turned from let's run around and have fun to oh my god, don't fall off the platform.
Okay, so anyone who knows Sonic the Hedgehog 2 will know Chemical Plant Zone Act 2, right? So there is a bit towards the end of this level where it gets really fucking hard. Exactly. You've got to, there's these little blocks you've got to get in. You're underwater. You can easily drown. You can easily be crushed by the block. And then you think you're out of it. And then you can fall back in the water again.
And it's during the boss fight, by the way.
And then the boss fight happens and you can fall in the water then too.
I just let Davey do it. It was quite fun.
We went from having fun to like, I'm like, slow down, stop,
screaming. And I was like inching forward. I was like, oh my God, I'm scared.
So check that out at patreon.com/BQN.
But I think it was a better experience overall because we got to do co-op, like I mentioned. Graphics were a little bit nicer. It wasn't that ugly chartreusey kind of colors. I don't know how to describe it other than that. Like, if you're looking at green and chartreuse green, that's kind of how all the colors look. They were kind of off, but these ones were a lot better, more vibrant, a little bit more like easy on the eyes.
What do you think though was the North American influence in this? What was different? Because there's a lot that has been said about the cultural clashes in the development of the game. And I don't know, like, was it just because Sonic became a little bit more of a dude?
He became a bit sassier and duty.
Yeah.
Maybe it was the chemical poisoning.
The chemical plant, sorry.
Yeah.
Is that the North American influence?
I think so, yeah. No, I don't know. I did enjoy his, like, sassy little, like, when you weren't doing anything, you'd, like, sit there and, like...
You think that's American?
Yeah. They're always going to be doing fucking something. Can't just be chilling, can they?
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't think I can really quite put my
I didn't
finger
notice
on
anything, no.
There's lots of other stuff in this that's just, it was a perfect sequel, I think, at the time, right? Like everything kind of, like graphically, it was better. There was more animation. There was more color. There was more speed.
There was so much going on screen. Like even like you had like at the chemical plant, let's use that for an example. Like we mentioned, it was up, down, left, right, blah, blah, blah. But there was so much like stuff going on. And you weren't just moving in a direction. You were sometimes spinning and going through pipes. And it just had like like some fluidity to it that was really, really exciting.
Yeah, exactly. And just the inclusion of like the additional character and all that kind of stuff. It was a sequel just done well. Like it just took everything that worked in the original and added all this nice little stuff, like the spin attack.
Oh yeah.
Now, did that not change your life?
Changed my entire life. Thank God they did that. And that was what I was expecting, because obviously I have experienced Sonic, and I was like, where is my little spin ball attack? And then they finally put it in this one. Thank God, because it made me not as like toothless. But also the little 3D, if we collect 100 rings thing was fun.
So we got to the bonus level.
Yeah, that was fun.
The 16-bit sort of mode 7-ish kind of 3D graphics. How did you find that?
It was fun. I did get motion sick though. Yeah, it was making me sick.
You complained a bit through both games of your eyes hurting a bit.
I get car sick. I'm like a dog. So when there's like pretend motion going on, I get a bit like, because my body's not moving.
Yeah.
So I was playing, especially on that one though, where we were doing the bonus level, we were like moving through a virtual space, and I was kind of like, oh.
Yeah. These bonus levels were the bane of my existence as a kid, because you need to complete these bonus levels to get the Chaos Emeralds and get the true ending to the game. Now they go through like, all right, collect 40 rings, collect 80 rings, and like through each bonus level, it gets higher and higher and higher, and it gets harder and harder and harder because the little spiky balls appear, and if you bang into them, you lose rings.
And Tails is just like all over the shop.
Tails is a liability when he's being controlled by the computer, which is why it was always so much better when I had a friend with a second controller plugged in, because they could control Tails, because AI controlling Tails, he'd just go fucking.
Would you even call it AI back then?
No, just the computer, the algorithm, the code.
The computer.
Yeah, the code. The code was controlling him, it was.
Oh, true.
Yeah. And you liked the music?
Oh, yeah, the music is always good. It was just better this time, though. It was very like you hit the nail on the head where they just improved kind of everything. It's almost like a perfect sequel.
What's your thoughts on the playability of this one today versus those original ones that you played before?
Much better.
Yeah.
Because these ones, well, obviously it was better because we were playing with you, so I'm probably a bit biased because you probably helped me be better. But I didn't die as much, which meant I was having more fun, and it didn't make me suffer.
Yeah, but it did get hard though.
It did spike.
Yeah. Especially in that third level, once we got into the underwater section.
Oh yeah, that was the. I was like, oh
yeah, you've got to get the bubble, otherwise you run out of breath.
The panic that I was feeling with that music, jeez Louise.
Yeah. And look, and whilst those early levels are about speed, it does become trickier and trickier, and you can't get too overconfident with the speed later on. That Emerald Hill Zone, the first one, you can just speed through that as much as you
designed
like,
for, basically,
and you will be fucking right as rain, mate.
See, it sets a bad standard, because it's like, oh, go fast, and now don't, because you're going to drown in purple chemicals.
Yeah, and then we were up to those Mystic Ruins or whatever they were, and again, you could kind of do it earlier in the level. You could not. Once you got underwater, that was your undoing, because
it slowed you down.
Well, yeah, it slowed you down, but you were trying to speed through it, and all of a sudden, there's spikes dropping from the ceiling.
Yeah,
which got you crushed and killed.
Well, once again, the environment, does it interact with me or not?
Yeah,
some of it does, some of it doesn't. So, and my little pea brain was like, I'll be fine.
Yeah. One thing that you can get through playing it. So you can play these games through the Sonic Origins collection here. Sonic 2 is also in the Mega Drive app for Nintendo Switch Online, and you can do save states, which does help.
That had changed the.
And we could have even done that for the Game Gear ones that we were playing earlier as well.
Sorry, you can make me suffocate the real experience.
Well, I think there are so gameplay elements from these older games that still work and don't work. What would you think they are?
Obviously, like the painful suffering of going back to the start of the game, that's out. Cancel that. Yeah. Some other things, he's still very slippy and slidey, which I didn't really like. I think I need a bit more grip on my Sonic, if you know what I'm saying. The things that have held up, the platforming, obviously, because it's making a massive resurgence. Obviously, everyone's still obsessed with it. I think the graphics honestly look really good. Like, for what it is, I thought it looked really good. The co-op, really enjoyed it. Playing with friends, how could you say no? So they're probably like the three things that I can think of off the dome that I think work.
Yeah.
What about you? What do you think works and doesn't?
I think I do tend to agree. The platforming, it just seems to be a timeless style of gameplay, which I've said a lot recently. There is a reason why SEGA has been able to repackage and sell these games
They really have.
over and over and over again. And there's a reason why Sonic never transferred to 3D quite as well as, say, Mario did and other franchises. And look, some of the early 3D Sonics, like the first two Sonic Adventures, like I played Sonic Adventure 2 on GameCube to death. Like it was such a good game. Very hard to play now, but he's had such a hit and miss time on 3D. And it's whenever they bring it back to the 2D roots that all of a sudden everyone's like, Sonic's good again.
Oh, it works again.
Like a few years ago, there was Sonic Mania.
Oh, yes.
Now, Sonic Mania was not actually made by Sonic Team, but it was made by a group who had done like a Passion Sonic project online. And so SEGA actually hired them to make like this classic retro remix. So it's essentially like the game we were just playing, but it's like remixes of all the old levels.
Oh, that would have been good. I bet all the fans would have loved that.
Built for modern hardware and all that kind of stuff, but still in that very old, like the same style of graphics. Like, it's so cool.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. It's so, but I think it's really interesting, that whole thing of 3D graphics versus these old school 2D graphics, because the 16-bit era in particular, that seems to be the golden...
It's the sweet spot.
It does. In terms of like retro graphics, it seems to be the one that is very accessible and playable today. You move forward to the 32-bit era, like the Sony PlayStation, and it's just not as... like, it's ugly.
It
like,
is ugly.
You play...
I thought you weren't going to say it.
No, PS1 classics, you can play them on PS5. Like, I tried to... Before you joined the pod, I was going to try and replay a game called Siphon Filter, which I used to love on the PS1. It's so
ugly.
bad. The controls are terrible. Like, they were fine at the time, but like, unfortunately, 3D had to go through a much harder evolution of gameplay to become good, right? And again, there is a reason why we seem to like 3D gameplay has not really evolved much in the last 20 years either, because we've kind of figured it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Control schemes just kind of work. Movement works.
Everything's vaguely kind of toggled to the same movement as well.
We'll just build everything in the Unreal Engine and it'll be fine.
And then we'll re-release it for the next console with 4K resolution, and they'll all pay $70 for it again. Something else we did in Sonic 2 very briefly was play the split screen versus mode. That was ugly.
Oh, it was just squashed.
Yeah, it was squashed and stretched, and I was also bad at it as well, so I didn't help.
I don't get that. There were other split screen games at the time. I don't understand. Like, it was so tacked on, and it's literally just a race through one of the levels.
It's just running the game like twice on the same screen.
What I will say is that in the Sonic Origins collection, they did not upscale it, but they did fix the frame rate problems. I remember it running like a dog's breakfast again, frame rate wise, when you were doing it.
Wasn't
like,
too bad on here, but
but it still had the squashy.
Yeah, it was ugly.
One thing we didn't try is on the Sonic Origins collection, there is an anniversary mode where they have modernized it, made it widescreen, all that kind of stuff. I would have liked to have given that a try just to see if they'd fixed it, but I think at the end of the day, it's a throwaway part of the game.
Yeah, I think it's obviously like a second-hand thought where they were just like, we'll chuck it in.
I know. Going back to it, I always wish that they had focused more on the co-op side of it. I think there was probably always an intention to have more two-playerness to it, bringing Tails in.
Yeah.
But I feel like maybe they just couldn't get the co-op to work in any way other than what it did, right?
Yeah.
It's like, all right, cool. As best you can get is, you can control Tails when he's on screen.
Exactly.
Instead of it being like a proper, like it just, the hardware probably just couldn't do it.
There would have been a limitation. Well, it's obviously like the 2 is written all over the game. It's Sonic 2, they're doing the peace sign, Tails has 2 tails. It's Sonic Tuesday, as you mentioned. Like, I think that was obviously a big part of like the marketing. And then, I think the hardware limitations probably limited it. Did they do proper co-op in the upcoming games, like Sonic 3 or anything?
I don't think I've ever seen co-op in a Sonic game.
Except for that.
I mean, you could, again, in Sonic 3, you could control Tails with a second controller again. So that still happened. I can't remember if Sonic and Knuckles was the same, and I don't think I've ever seen co-op in any of the 3D Sonics either. That it's always been largely a single player
Solo
experience.
Yeah.
But Sonic has branched off into other areas like Mario did as well.
He went to the Olympics, did you see?
He did go to the Olympics. So in that Game Gear collection, there was also Sonic R, which is Sonic Racing. So there were Sonic Racing games.
Is that where they like have like the boards?
No, that was another one.
Because I've played that a lot.
Yeah, there's a Sonic Air Riders also.
Yeah.
A bit like the Kirby racing game. Yeah. So there was that. The Game Gear kart racer ones are dreadful.
Really?
Team Sonic Racing, the modern ones, not too bad.
Not too bad?
Not too bad, yeah. Pretty, they'll never be Mario Kart,
Yeah,
right?
of
They'll
course.
never be Mario Kart.
Everyone's trying to be Mario
But
Kart.
they're a fun kart racing game that copied the template that works really, really well. And there was even a Sonic Fighters game on the Sega Saturn.
Sonic Fighters.
Yeah.
Like a Smash Bros?
More like a Tekken,
Oh, okay.
but terrible.
Just Amy beating the shit out of him with a big hammer.
But
or
like
something.
32-bit graphics.
Oh my god, that sounds awful.
I know. I'll include some footage in the YouTube version.
Please.
But it wasn't great. It wasn't great. So anyway, overall, how did you find your first Sonic the Hedgehog, like classic Sonic the Hedgehog experience?
Honestly, he was a bit of a gentle lover. I kind of liked my first experience with Sonic. It was good.
Especially the sequel.
So the sequel blew the other one out of the water, to be completely honest. But it was a little ugly to start with, but then it got really charming. Music was really good. I can understand why people got obsessed with it. Like, It's one of those games where, because it's so beloved, and I'd never played it, I was like, must be really, really good, but I've never given it a shot, and now I've done it, and I'm like, oh yeah, if you're a 90s kid, this would have eaten into your whole life.
And you know what? And he's had his ups and downs since then, right? I mean, this is core Sonic. This is where, like I said before, they keep coming back to this. Whenever they bring it back to original sort of 2D style, like, so some of the more recent games like Sonic Generations have crossed between but the 3D style Sonic and the 2.5D style.
Yeah.
And those are the games that are always infinitely more popular because it just goes back to what the series was, which was good, fast, challenging, platforming, but always quite hard.
Yeah, it was. Like I said, that spike, it really got me.
Yeah.
And I can imagine like having to, and you mentioned it about the original one as well, where it's like, I've memorized the map because you have to, because you played through it.
Yeah. Even playing through Sonic 2, I realized I had so much.
Yeah, lucky you were telling me. You were like, wait, slow down, wait. I was like, oh, okay. All right, girl, I will.
And have you learnt more about me playing the games of my childhood?
I feel like I know enough about you, to be completely honest.
Okay. Fair enough.
Well, I did a nice little feedback form about you recently. That was good.
You did. He did for a little life coaching thing that I'm doing. Shout out to the Happy Homo Project.
Big shout out.
Big shout out.
So yeah, I was going through that and I was like, oh wow. Yes, I really do know him very well.
You do.
So,
It was lovely what you said about me in that, by the way. Thank you.
It was all true as well. So, but what's called? Yeah, no, I can see how this would have been an obsession for you, and it's good to see like some of the games that you're holding near and dear, experiencing them.
Yeah. We've got a lot coming up.
We do.
Yeah, we've got a lot coming up. So we are going to be meeting Tex and Neosis who are developing Key Theory, who we met at PAX. They've been doing a lot of work since. I recently did a play test on their game.
God.
So we're going to catch up with them again very, very soon.
Love Key Theory.
I've also, I don't know if I've told you this yet, but we are going to meet up with Triana Butler from Joy FM, who is also an esports commentator.
Oh my God. Let's do it. Look at us.
So I'm very excited about that. And also I've been chatting to someone who does indie video game music in the queer space here in Melbourne.
Oh.
Who may be doing some work for our show, but who also wants to come and chat to us about the work that they do too.
Oh my God. You've been keeping secrets from me.
I know. I've been doing all kinds of stuff in the background. And also Gas Station Story from Enzi has just been released. I met Enzi just before the game came out when you were recovering from your surgery.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to do a full playthrough of that and give it a proper review, I think.
Yes, please. I really want to play it. You've been hyping it up so much. So.
Yeah. So there you go.
There we go.
That's
Sonic.
it. Sonic the Hedgehog. Good times. Good times.
Good time.
All right. Well, we're going to sign off for now. Thank you so much for coming on this retro journey with us. Remember to go to patreon.com/BQN to see the gameplay footage.
Watch us squeal like little pigs.
Yeah. We'll be back soon with more fun queer gaming content. But until then, I've been Davey.
And I've been Mitch.
And we've been the Bargain Bin Gamers.
What are we doing?
I don't know. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you give it a big thumbs up on YouTube or follow the podcast wherever you get your podcast from and leave us a 5-star review. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Blue Sky and follow along on our live Twitch streams. You can also continue the conversation in our BQN podcast Discord by clicking the link in the episode description. Don't forget that the Bargain Bin Gamer is part of a larger network of podcasts called the BQN. You can support this and other BQN programs by becoming a patron over at patreon.com/BQN. We'd love to hear your feedback on the episode. Leave us a comment on YouTube or send us an email to bargainbingamer, GAYMER, @gmail.com. Until next time, au revoir.
Double T Media.